Wonderful. Hello everybody and welcome to the second day of the NGO Masterclasses, NGO Next Level 2025. I do want to do a quick disclaimer as we did yesterday. This is a trial event. You're our test subjects in a way to see if there is an interest in this and does this quality of workshop masterclasses work for people abroad and not just in Latvia. So for those who are joining today for the first time, I do want to do also another quick disclaimer. Yesterday we did talk more about digitalization and subjects regarding that. Today we are more focused on marketing, and today's goal is to ensure that you have every single tool in your disposal that when you stop watching this webinar, seminar, masterclass, that you have all of the knowledge to recruit hundreds of people in quite a short of time and in any field and etc. So for those who are joining who joined yesterday, this might be you already heard about this, so I will go just briefly through it. My name is Dāniels Liecis. There is a beautiful picture of me right there. Right now, I'm a chairperson of Clubhouse Youth for United Europe, youth organization, where we have a team of more than 30 process managers. And in the last year alone, we grew our active member base from 40 to 200, and we are growing numbers, a lot of growing numbers. Previously, I have worked also in marketing. This is, I think, one of the key aspects we will touch upon today, as I have before worked with clients LG, Audi, and McDonald's, and many other clients, and helped them develop marketing strategies for Latvian market, and also slightly abroad. And lastly, I also had international company, which was where we had 250,000 users, where most of the users were attracted with no budget, so we had no money to spend on marketing, and the only thing we did have is will and energy and free time to get those users in the beginning. So that's what we're gonna talk also about today, how to get a lot of people. And briefly, as already yesterday mentioned, about Clubhouse. We are a Latvian youth national level organization where we help youth. We are a platform where we bring together hundreds and thousands of youth. We help them find social issues around them, and then we provide all the necessary resources like funding, knowledge, and etc. for them to develop solutions on the local level. We have 15 different priorities. And last year we interacted with more than 4,500 youth, are active in 18 municipalities, quite active internationally as well. We're trying to be more active, and yeah, that's us, and that's what we are. And but besides that, quick advertisement about me and about our NGO is done. Now let's dive deep into today's masterclass, what we are going to talk about. And I think I always want to start with some sort of never-ending problems, where I think in marketing this is quite similar, especially for those people who are about to create their first maybe Erasmus, and they need 30 or 10 people from their country, or creating a first dissemination activity where you need 20 people, or just any activity where you need to get a lot of people, or even few, but like really highly motivated people. And quite often the situation is that you realize, okay, you need 30 people, only 10 apply, and then only 10 show up. It's quite common, at least with several NGOs here in Latvia, that this is quite often a problem. And then first discussions always lead to, oh, we had bad timing. The school just started. Maybe there's a vacation for a lot of people. Maybe there's a different event, and etc. There's always like all of the different reasons why it didn't work out, and sometimes they are true. Sometimes there's just maybe some different aspects that we could have improved upon, and we'll talk about those practical aspects so that you could improve on. And regarding also this topic is when you, for example, need 30 members, you do social media publications, you send a lot of emails, you message your partners, you feel like you did everything you could. You did everything. Only 15 people apply. Is this topic really not that interesting? What's the issue? Yeah, and as Sabir already mentioned in the chat, finding 5 people to apply for solidarity projects is quite a hard challenge for sure, because that's for a long term. They need to quit everything else, and especially if you have some specific criteria that you're looking for, then it might become a nightmare. So this is a challenge, and we will talk about today on how to get those higher numbers and how to reach the maximum capacity for that marketing can achieve with no budget. That's a big note for today. We're going to talk about marketing that requires no funding besides human resources, just your time or the employee's time. So take that into consideration, because that's important, because paid marketing is a whole different world. But before we start, I want to do a quick overview of what we're going to talk today about. So in most cases, there's marketing timelines. Some people say what you need to do in marketing timeline, like in 1 week, 1 month, etc. I would say there are phases, different type of phases, especially for activities coming up. So today we're going to cover 4 phases, and also we're going to cover some points that is not regarding activities only, but for long-term marketing and PR improvement. So the first one is we're going to talk about the preparation phase. What you need to gather the information and what do you need to prepare. So the second one is going to be about the first advertising boost, how to ensure that everybody hears about the opportunity and the opportunity doesn't leave their minds, they just can't forget about it. The third one is how to use last minute attention grabs. And the final one is a little bit stabilize reputation, but I will comment on that a little bit later on. And so I know this might seem a little bit off, but this writing out basic information, this is something that we already touched upon yesterday on the masterclass, but also for marketing. Many times I have heard where there is a festival coming up and the organizers need 20 volunteers or five specific volunteers in different categories or etc. And sometimes they just say we need volunteers. But before you even start marketing, you always need to know the basic information, what that is. So what's the goal? Why do you need these volunteers? What will be their impact on something bigger? So what's the reason why they need to be there? Also the date and time. In what days, from what to what times they need to be there, the format and locations, is it real life, online, where is it, how many people do you need, what will be their roles, what's the target audience, do you have like specific ages or genders or skill sets that you're looking for, and lastly, a really crucial one, benefits. Are you looking for people that will cover their own for example, costs, or do you perhaps cover everything? So these are really important things to write down. Before we create a campaign, we always just create a small Word document and then we do bullet points for each of these 6, and we write them down. And the reason why we do that is not only it helps the marketing phase, but it also really helps in case if the person who's in charge of this first marketing campaign, in case he gets sick or she gets sick, or they suddenly have different priorities, that if something breaks, another person can come in and help out. And also, especially if more people are coming to this marketing campaign, it's really hard to work with another person on how to get more people. So like, hey, will you send the emails? Okay, to which people do you send the emails? It's sometimes quite hard to delegate the processes in marketing, so it's truly important for this one. And the reason also why this is, I think, crucial to write down, because even if you search online, you can see guides on how to breathe, how to walk, because sometimes obvious things are not obvious, and that's something I truly live by, because just because something seems obvious to you doesn't mean it will be obvious to other people. So yeah, we write down to basic information of the activities, what is planned, and I just do want to note for the benefits. If you realize that you don't have any benefits you can provide, that's good to know. Because, for example, 2 years ago, we were organizing a national level youth festival where we suddenly our budget was cut by 20%, and we weren't sure about 20 more percent. And that led us to a big issue where 2 weeks before the festival, the organizer told me, hey, we need volunteers. I asked, how many? They said 100. So, okay, what time limit do I have? She said, I have only 4 days to get 100 volunteers. I said, okay, do we cover their transportation costs? She said, no, we cannot cover that. Do we cover accommodation costs? Where will they sleep? She said, we have a place where they can build their tents. Do we have perhaps any budget for food? So, no, they should bring their own snacks for those 2 days. It's like, oh wow, this is gonna be an awful challenge. But luckily, within 3 days, we had 100 applicants for these positions, and we needed 100, so we even had reserve. So just a practical example, and we also mentioned people that we don't have those benefits. So we're going to cover that example today as well. And first thing is, of course, you always have to understand what's the activity's goal, but also a crucial thing a lot of people miss a lot of times is understand your capacity, because all right, you need 100 people, but how many people will work on this? Will it be you alone? Okay, how much time can you spend on it? Do you have any knowledge on that topic? And also, do you have any budget for marketing? And the reason why this is also important is in marketing, especially for the first timers, people typically expect much higher results from the inputs that they give than the reality has. For example, you do all of the different things you do, and you're like, oh, we will definitely have 30 applications and only 10 show up. So that's the reason why, for example, level of knowledge is important, colleague numbers and marketing budget allocated them as well, because marketing takes a lot of time, especially if you need large quantities or smaller quantities, but for really, it would be like quite rare to find those people. So, so yeah, we have the knowledge about the activity, the basics, the base capacity understanding, and now starts the more of the fun part. Okay, we need to realize on what will be our strategy. There are many different types of ones, but I would say this one covers most of them together, because what is the goal of marketing as a whole? Of course, one of the goals is to that, so people apply. But I would say before that, there are many different goals. The first one is actually your first goal shouldn't, when you think about marketing and reaching people, you should think about how can I reach a specific person in different time moments and emotional states, because each person has different trust factors and etc. We will touch upon that in I think one of the next slides, why that is crucial, but that's really important. How do you reach people in different time moments and emotional states? Secondly, how can you ensure that they stop scrolling and actually view your advertisements? Because last year when I was working on a different marketing project, we learned studies that a person on a daily basis sees between 5,000 to 10,000 ads. That includes social media, TVs, radios, and etc. So almost 10,000 ads for some people. You only show up once. So the possibility that they will actually read your ad, whatever it is, your opportunity, you can call it whatever, is extremely low. But we will talk about how to change that. And the third one is typically, okay, they stop, you reach the person, they stop scrolling, they actually read it. And from my personal experience, the first goal for them is to ensure that they share this information with their friends, and only then they apply. I think in the next slides, I'm going to explain the reasons why, but that is due to the trust factor, because every single person has different trust factors. Some people trust what they read on the news, some people trust what they read on Reddit or Facebook, some people trust on TVs, some people trust influencers, and etc. But the highest trust typically is between friends. So if your friend sends you something, anything, the likelihood that the person will go in depth reading this information is much higher, and that's also what most larger companies typically try to do if they have large client bases, that they try to ensure that their clients are their small advertisers in their friend groups. And what does it practically look like? If you want to reach a person in different emotional states as well, different trust factors, you need to ensure that they actually receive the information from different sources. And one of the examples I like to say in Latvia is there's this company Temu. Most likely, if I show you the logo, you will see it, know it. You know it probably. You have seen it most likely. But the thing they do is they show ads. Well, they showed at least ads for quite a long time in every single part of your day, so you cannot not see it. And you can do quite a similar strategy with no budgets to ensure that people remember your ad. And the way you do it is, of course, there's limits to this. You don't want to annoy people too much, but the way you do it is through daily imagining your user and imagining their daily cycle. So for example, imagine there's John. He wakes up in the morning, it's 7 o'clock, and as a John would do perhaps, he checks his phone, social media channels, and he doesn't want to wake up yet. So that's the first place. How can you ensure that you show up in John's phone? Of course, you cannot hack it, but how can you ensure that when John checks his social media, you show up in his social media? What does that include? Stories of his friends, stories of people they follow. Maybe they go on explore page. How can you be there? And that's one of the most obvious ones, and that's one of the most efficient ones. But there are, of course, also different ways. For example, breakfast. John goes to the breakfast with his family, and now you have a different opportunity. How can you ensure, if you're, for example, trying to reach a young person, how can you ensure that the parents of John tell him about a specific opportunity? Maybe he meets with classmates. How can you ensure that classmates talk about this topic? Maybe the teacher tells them about this. He goes to lunch, sees surrounding posters and etc., radios, friends meet up, and lastly some opportunities. So your goal is to be as in many of these aspects of John's day in as much as possible, because they see 10,000 ads, and if they see your ad only once, they will not remember it, and especially if they are outside of your standard bubble, and that's a big issue. Actually, a big interest of mine is how did all of you learn about this masterclass? Perhaps some of you could write it out in the chat. Did you find it on social media? Did somebody forward you the message on WhatsApp, emails? How did you learn about this opportunity that you can actually join here? Somebody's boss sent it to them. Okay, wonderful. Facebook, Salto platforms, some WhatsApp chats. Okay, wonderful. Sounds like five people responded already, and all of those 5 people showed. I see already 7 different marketing strategies we tried, and that's just so wonderful to see it. Yeah, almost everybody is saying almost a different strategy. That's quite funny to see. But yeah, that's the point. Each person trusts information in a different way, and when they get the information, they will more likely interact with it from different people. Yeah, wonderful. So if we move forward, so yeah, how do you actually reach them in those times? Because one is, yeah, the most clear one is sending an email, posting in Facebook, Instagram. Okay, that's it. There have to be more opportunities. So I would say there are 4 categories of channels that you can go through. I've tried to be in depth in each of them and tell their pros and cons. The first one is internal channels. This is your social media, your own website, your physical location, your WhatsApp groups, your emails. That is something that is built by your NGO for your members or for your followers, and it's only for you mostly. And this is a good aspect, but this is one of the most problematic aspects of the 4 channels, because especially for those NGOs that have grew up to at least few thousand of followers, there are sometimes cases where you post, for example, in your Facebook group, so Instagram page, an event, you send it to your members, and you need 20 people, and 20 people show up. And it's all great. Works 1 time, 2 times a year, maybe 2 years. And but at one moment you realize you're reaching actually the same people only. Or a different problem that can occur is that it's harder to get the people to join events, because that's mostly because you're always trying to reach the same bubble. Because if you post only in your own social media, that reaches the same bubble, and of course, especially if it's not highly shared content, you won't reach new people. So what I always tell to our process managers is that if you want to reach a lot of people, use your social media, but please ensure that you also use other NGO social medias. You ensure that other people share this opportunity outside of our bubble, because the bubble over time, if nobody joins, always becomes smaller or explode. There's two options. For this one, I always tell, especially if they are new people in long-lasting NGOs, always lower your expectations for this type of channel's efficiency. If you think 20 people will join from your ad, say 10 people. I always divide it by 2 at least. Second one, I would say one of the easiest ones to reach outside of the standard bubble is public places where you can share your ads without having somebody to accept it. What does that mean? That means, for example, social media groups, Facebook, online communities, for example, in Discords, different chats, Messenger, WhatsApp, Viber, some opportunity websites like Salto mentioned in the chat. There are information boards physically in schools in most countries. You can also distribute brochures. So these are activities that you can do quite typically on large scale, and nobody has to say, yes, you can do it. You can just simply do it. If we look at especially social media groups, Facebook groups, what I have noticed within the past few years is they are slowly starting to lose their efficiency. However, they can be still great if you do it on a large scale, large amount. For example, if you post in 50 Facebook groups, maybe from each Facebook group, one person will join, so it's 50 people. Whenever I also tell this, I always have a small disclaimer. I remember about spam limits. For example, you can post in 20 different Facebook groups a day. There are 500 WhatsApp chats a day you can send, and also I think it was 500 emails. On the emails topic, we'll touch upon afterwards a little bit, but remember about the limits. But this is one of the easiest places on how to advertise. I will also share a long list of some of the opportunities where to advertise in the EU level. Then the third one is a little bit less commonly used, and I would not say the most efficient one, but if done correctly, you can have high results. So this one is when large organizations or group leaders or anybody who oversees a lot of different groups of people or NGOs forward this information to others. So this is the same option where for example, what we did is we sent also this NGO masterclass opportunity to a lot of networks with a favor. Hey, can you forward this opportunity to other NGOs in your network? And there's always also institutional representatives, founders, funders, political parties, activity partners, influencers, and podcasts. So most efficient from these ones is umbrella network NGOs, only if they forward the messages of in emails and communication chats. But also recently we have noticed that emails, also this whatever I'm telling here also depends quite a lot on the country you're in, because the cultures are a little bit different. So you might need to double check how this works in your country and how the people in your country react to it. But forwarded emails are typically great, but they're not read that often. It's more likely if, for example, an umbrella NGO will actually send this opportunity to Messenger or WhatsApp chats where their members are in place. And and also a small comment regarding influencers. In Latvia, we did a study a few years ago on while a lot of youth, especially, received information from influencers, actually their trust in influencers promoted products was actually one of the lowest. So this is also sometimes something to take into account. Maybe a specific channel can reach a lot of people, but if the trust is low, the quantity of people that will join is much lower. So for example, Salto is highly trusted party. So if they share an opportunity, it's much more people will join who receive the email, but at the same time, not that many people receive the opportunity. And lastly is the private places. These are the ones where you need to either apply or ask somebody a favor. Hey, can I please post my opportunity here? From my experience, this is the most not used category, but at the same time one of the most efficient ones. That includes social media pages of other youth NGOs, company newsletters. For example, Salto newsletter also could be here, perhaps. Government partnerships, websites, different news portals, TVs, radios, and newspapers. Few months ago, we had to create a conference on Latvian scale on youth worker capacity, and we needed to reach I think we need to reach 100 youth workers, which is really high for Latvian market. And one of our strategies was to analyze all of the Latvian youth group, NGOs, youth councils, and etc. their Instagram pages, write them all down, and send them all a message with a favor to ask, hey, can you share this opportunity in their story? I think we sent an Instagram DM to 200 different NGOs, and about 100 of them shared it in their story. And this was one of the highest and most efficient marketing strategies we did for that conference as a whole. So it really worked really well. And the other topic, another one more specific, is company newsletters. They can be highly effective, but we will touch upon that a little bit afterwards. Yeah, and I already mentioned that the most the highest return on time is messaging NGOs in Instagram if you need to reach a large scale amount of new people. And I know in some countries and in some regions there is quite often a comment that NGOs are competing with each other. We sometimes also have that comment in Latvia, but even though those who quite often say it here were even though one of those who shared it. So people share stuff and they want to help out. So just remember, if they share something for you, maybe you have to share something for them. But I think that's just a normal mutual partnership. So that was. And by using all of these channels, it's quite easy to reach a large-scale amount of people. And the only problem there is to create databases for all of these, all of these things, for all of the social media pages, for all of the companies that you can message, for all of the youth NGOs and etc. But to show one or more practical examples, we had a goal last year to get into as many schools in Latvia as possible. In Latvia, we have, I think a little bit more than 400 schools. So we wanted to get poster advertisement in as many schools as possible. So youth know about us and they can join our NGO if they seem fit. So what we did there, we were focusing was on the private places, this one, and we wanted to ensure that they share our ads. So if you have ever sent an email to schools, a lot of schools, with just a simple favor to, hey, can you please put this poster in your school? In Latvia, it's quite hard because the schools received up to sometimes 100 emails a day. So from those 400 schools where we sent the email initially. Can you just put out the poster? Around 15 schools responded in the first 3 days, and that was quite devastating. It was quite sad. During that experience, we all found out something quite fascinating. In case you're not doing this, this might be a new world for you, with a follow-up email. Because if initially around 15 schools responded, after a follow-up email, additional 30 schools responded with the message, hey, yes, sure, we will post it. So we forgot about this topic. We reached 45 schools and we realized, okay, this method works slightly. We reach around 10% of the schools, but not too efficient. And we take that into account for future projects. And then on a few weeks later, we tried out a different strategy. We tried to go into libraries. And in Latvia, we have 1,300 libraries, which is quite a lot. And in all of the schools, we also have libraries. And so we send them all an email. Hey, can you please put out this poster about our NGO? And first email got around 30 responses. A follow-up email received 250 responses. An insane amount. And what was the actually funny part of this all is that a lot of those 250 responses were actually school librarians. So actually we ended up in having an ad in I think 100 schools, a little bit more, just because we messaged the librarians, not schools directly. You can take the key lesson from here, whatever you wish for, but it's either to follow up emails or just messaging whenever you're trying to reach out to any organization. Try to reach out to a specific department always, and that will always receive much higher results. But yeah, and that worked. So quite a funny experience from us. And the other one is regarding databases. Before the 4 categories I presented to you, it's good to know them, but it's always about we know this information. Now what do we practically do? So always the first thing we do is we create a quick database. Just for this NGO masterclass itself, we created this small database. I can't show all of these sections sadly here because there's some confidential information as well, but I can show this one. So we wanted to try out how effective is Facebook groups. So we found 113 Facebook groups. And we joined all of them, and every day we posted in 20 Facebook groups to see how effective they are. And from that we trying to connect. Okay, on my other computer says I'm here, so all good. Yeah, so we tried it out. It was, I think I would say, was one of the least effective our marketing strategies, and also looking here, only one of many people said that they found it from Facebook post. But the same principle goes for personal outreach, for EU institution emails, NGO emails, and etc. And to go back on, and so yeah, the first thing is always to create a database. Then you message the people. You try to see, maybe you can also message their colleagues. Never message their bosses, especially if you haven't sent a follow-up email, because some people will take it personally, really personally. And one more example from these 4 categories I want to show is the mouth-to-mouth marketing example, where people, what it means is basically people look at your opportunity and they want to share it to other people because they find it funny. When the COVID hit, as many of you, a lot of things happened, but at the same time, not a lot of things happened in a way that there's not much to do. So on one day, I created a survey. It was in Latvian, of course, so I can't show all of it, which was named Really, Really Important Survey. And I created a text, which was something along the lines, please fill out this survey. It's really important. It only takes 35 seconds. And people opened it up and there were around 20 questions. I sent it into only one chat. I think there were like 50 people there. And 3 days later, I had almost 400 responses. I did not do any really hard marketing there. I only sent it into a few groups. So, and one of the key aspects I wanted to learn is, do young people love themselves during the COVID? So we had a question in the survey. Sorry, one of the questions is, do you love yourself? I believe if we just ask that to one question itself, people wouldn't answer it. Well, at least wouldn't go that viral, because actually before that one question, we had 10 different questions. And those 10 different questions were along the lines, the responses are in Latvian, but for example, have you ever had the urge to sleep in the fridge? This was in like November, I think. And do you believe that is a for example, cereal is a soup? And stuff like that, like 10 questions, non-formal ones, and the last one was the serious one. In all of the groups I saw this forwarded to, all of the people reacted to it as it was really funny. And also here, if you see, if you can already somewhat understand by the responses, here 356 people responded to the question, have you ever had the urge to sleep in the fridge? 47% said yes. So we got all of this fun data, but also in the end we actually got the data we needed. And it was, for those who took part of it, it was quite a fun experience for them as well. But yeah, that's regarding how to reach a lot of people. Of course, if you have more questions about it, feel free to ask in the chat. I'll answer them at the moment or at the end of it, as it will be possible. And a second big part is when you create databases or on where to advertise, the next key aspect is on how to create the content that people will see and interact with, which is typically quite a big problem. So there are different type-based marketing, like formats. One is text, one is visual, one is video marketing. I will go through each of them briefly. One of them is text-based marketing. But before we go into any of these styles in depth a little bit more, I do want to express a note that I think everybody should take into consideration. If you post an event and it reaches somebody who has never been part of these events, they will look at the event, they will see, where is this, at what time, can I come alone? They will have hundreds of questions, and most of the time, if their question is not answered, they will not take part in the event, and they will most often not ask you the questions. So in a way, you need to ensure that your marketing is really short, but also at the same time answers every possible question that out there that there is for them, especially for youth, because for those who haven't been part of actively different events and etc., what will happen is the young person will come back to home and speak to their parents saying, hey, next Friday afternoon, I want to go to this event. Their parents are going to ask, okay, hey, what is this? What is that? Answer these questions. And if they can't answer the questions, probably feel not too well about the event anymore, and they will simply not go. This is quite a common thing that happens among people who are outside of the standard bubble. But yeah, regarding the text-based marketing, that includes, for example, creating messages in a Messenger, WhatsApp, Viber, Telegram, Signal, and etc. The first thing always, especially if you're sending group messages in large-scale groups, is to catch the attention. What that means is doing something that's not traditional. That means saying unexpected sentences, using formatting features to express the main keywords, add a few emojis or not. If everybody's sending with emojis, don't send with emojis. Do the opposite of what's happening right now everywhere, and do that, because that will catch attention, because it's the opposite. And then the second one is provide the content. You got their attention, clearly outline information. That means quick bullet points, short paragraphs, make it structured, because if it looks like large blocks, nobody's gonna read it. Nobody wants to read it. And explain what you offer. And of course, don't forget to have a call to action, which can be also something besides apply for the event. And lastly, ensure that they share and join. Firstly, share and then join. That's a big, crucial part. And something that I have noticed recently in marketing field, that a lot of people, due to ChatGPT, are creating their ads much longer, which is good in a way that answers all of the questions. But at the same time, if you receive a message that has a read more section in a big group, most people don't read it because they are in a rush. They're rushing somewhere. They don't want to focus on it right now. And if they leave the chat at that moment, they will not see it ever again. So ensure that, especially for those chats, that you don't have a read more section. In Instagram, Facebook, sure, but in personal communication chats, don't have the read more section. And in case you do, ensure that your application link is above read more, not at the end of it. Small detail, but it will help to get much more results, at least more clicks on the link. And of course, I always ask people to share this forward to friends. It's like YouTubers when they ask you to subscribe to their channels. Same thing, actually works. When you ask it, people actually do it. It's quite that simple. Not everybody does it, but a lot of people do it. And also a small subcategory of when you try to reach people through text is, of course, emails. Or right now, when you receive this opportunity, I can repeat regarding the read more section. In case there is a bad internet, I will quickly try to improve it. In case the connection still is quite awful, let me know, and I will try to improve it in some ways. Regarding the read more section is when you receive a message in, for example, WhatsApp community group, and it's quite a long message. You see there is a picture and there's a long text, and then at the bottom of the long text there is the button read more. And these two words, when a person sees them, they realize, okay, this is a long message. This will take most likely a little bit longer time to read it. So therefore, I don't want to focus on it right now. I will do it later, which happens to a lot of people. So the first thing is, you don't want to have those two words in your WhatsApp messages as a whole. And secondly, if you have to have them there, ensure that the most crucial information is above read more. So before it shows read more, you ensure that before it you have the application form. So it is before that. Basically, that's the main idea behind it. And the reason for that is because sometimes people just want to find the next step as soon as possible, and if they find it, they will apply. So that's regarding the read more. Regarding the emails, as previously mentioned, it's going to be a small subsection of text marketing. It can be quite large, but it can be a large way to really reach a lot of people. But today is not going to be the topic. We're going to dive too deep into newsletter marketing, as that is slightly long-term and complex strategy to develop. But as many of you have heard, whenever you write an email, clearly state why you're writing. Say what the other person will gain from this. Be human and empathetic, and don't sound too desperate. These are the base things that you hear all the time, and it's quite easy to improve that with ChatGPT nowadays. But small notes that I don't hear too often are some golden rules, especially if you're messaging schools or institutions or those type of people that you're asking them, hey, can you please forward this message? What you want there to happen is that it's as easy as as possible to forward this message. That includes either they can have copy paste, or they can simply forward it the way you already sent them the email. And if in case they communicate on different platforms, take that also into consideration, because for example, if you're using bullet points in email, and if they copy paste it into WhatsApp chats, it's going to look quite awful. So try to make it copy paste friendly if you're messaging those people who need to forward it. And then secondly is to ask them to respond within the time. Hey, as an example, hey, can you please let me know the upcoming day on how is it looking? Will you be able to share? And if they don't answer after the 2 days, always do the follow-up email. It can be a quick, simple, hey, have you received my email? I wanted to know what's the status with you. Because follow-up emails, especially work for those who procrastinate a little bit, who want to put it later in their schedule. So it works. And it works the best, especially if you previously put like a time date in what time you wanted them to respond within. Some people will not like follow-up emails. Also, I want to emphasize, some people will not like to receive this type of communication on that much of a high level. That is a risk, of course, that you have to take into account, that not a lot of people will want to receive that much information over and over again. So yeah, take that into consideration, and always prepare that some people will be a little bit upset, and you maybe will need to explain. So always try to be human and empathetic to those who receive this type of communication. Now, and often the case is that, especially with emails, you will get ignored, that people will not respond to you as much as you try, with 4 to 5 different emails, and nobody responds. There are many different cases. Sometimes people are truly just busy, but sometimes they see the email and they think, oh, I will respond to it a little bit later. Or another scenario is, oh, they sent me the email 1 week ago. I will not respond anymore because it's so late. I will just pretend I have not seen this. And after 2-3 weeks, it becomes a little bit uncomfortable to respond to them. So when you reach out to them, maybe for example, the third time is you can ask, hey, perhaps our messages dropped into your spam. Make it feel like it's not their fault for not responding, in case they still don't respond on your emails, there's always a way to message them on Instagram DMs, Facebook DMs, or message them on their phones, etc. And always go back to the email and say, hey, did you receive this email? Sometimes it drops into the spam. Can you check it? Make it feel like they can easily go out of the situation and don't have to say that it's their fault. And then when they do respond, always try to agree on time and deadline in which time they respond, and emphasize the importance on why they have to do it or why this is such a good deal for them. And of course, after that, a lot of people still might not say yes to you. So what you can do is always say thank you, offer to collaborate in the future, and it's okay. Not everybody has to create deals with you, and that's okay. Just a second. Oh, wonderful. I just noticed that there's a Q&A section that shows up for me today. I'm not sure if that showed up yesterday as well, so sorry for those maybe who had Q&A questions and I didn't answer them. Sorry for that. Because it's not showing up on my other computer. All right, we'll get that sorted in a little bit. And sometimes it's quite funny that when they say no, you can just explain the situation, thank them, and sometimes they will say yes, I want to do it after all. That has happened to us several times in the past few years. Then outside of text marketing, which recently I do want to emphasize has been becoming one of the most efficient ones, in a way that if you can ensure that hundreds of people forward your message, that's going to be the most efficient marketing thing you can do. The trick is to ensure that people actually forward this a lot and create like a chain. That's the hard part. So the next one is image marketing, which is slightly going out of one of the most efficient channels that there is. It's still quite great, of course. This one is a little bit more complex to the previous one because it now involves a little bit more elements. So first thing is always, of course, remember your activity's main goal. What is it to find? So of course, for example, you were looking for volunteers, so emphasize that, and emphasize always the call to actions. For example, follow us on, invite your friends, and etc. And the reason why I'm showing this example on the right side, I will tell in a minute. But before that, in image marketing, there are a few things that everybody can take into account, even if you're not that person who's great with creating visuals and etc. So, for example, if you're not the type of a person who can create visuals from your own, you can always look at other posters and combine the best ideas across them. Also, I remember, as mentioned also, I think previously, in many different courses, you will often hear that you have to get the person's attention in 3 seconds. In the agency I worked at, we did a study, and actually it's less than 1 second to grab a person's attention. So, because when you're scrolling, you don't really look at every single image fully. Sometimes it just doesn't even pass a second. Just see the first few pixels and you're thinking, oh no, this isn't for me, scrolling to the next one. So you really have to catch the attention within the first second. and always try to present it to a few other people in a way. And the reason why I'm saying the last one is when you present your poster to other people, ask them to give, would they join, and what information do they get from it. And I know this is a little bit off topic, but when you do it, when they give you the feedback, for example, on the right side example, a person would maybe read it and say, okay, great. Do I need to be in a specific age group to apply as a volunteer? And your first initial reaction could be that you want to answer their question, which is not something you should do when you receive feedback about your image. What you want to do is you want to improve the image in a way that would answer their question, and then provide it to them again and say, hey, do you have any questions now? Because if you answer that question to the one person, other people looking at the same image will have the same question, but it's not going to be answered to them because you will not be there to answer their questions. Just small remark. We recently noticed with our volunteers, when they ask for feedback, that they try to answer initially, which is not the best practice to take into account. And the reason why I'm saying this might not be a perfect example is because it's really hard to give a good example across Europe. That would work in every single country out there. So there are two things I would truly suggest anybody creating visuals, especially if you need a large amount of visuals. The first one would be just go on Facebook and look up call for volunteers. The way it works is quite easy. Call for volunteers. Post. And you just scroll down and you'll start to see different examples. And what you want to look at when you're looking at these examples, try to notice which examples have the highest comments, which one have the highest likes. For example, this is a semi-good one, so take a look at it. Scroll down. Okay, this doesn't have too many, so I'm not going to take a look at that. This one is the same. Just keep scrolling until you see some posts that have at least few shares and a few comments, and you will notice some alignments across them, and try to combine the best practice from every one and build it up like that, especially if you're a new one. And I think that's going to be the best practice to take into account for everybody new starting out with image marketing. And then the one that is recently getting more popularity is reel marketing, which is just creating videos. And one of the reasons why it's becoming more popular is the reason why it's so highly efficient is because it takes a little bit more time and resources to create it. It's more engaging, and not everybody does it, so it's a good spot to jump in. And regarding the reel marketing, I know this is the one that I wanted to show some practical tools on. So I will give you the practical tools on how to create reels with no experience for free in an hour. So the first thing is you create a hook. So that's something that to get a person's attention. I will provide the websites. The way it works is you simply, for example, this one, there is transitional hooks for social media, hundreds of hooks that you can open up, and it just it's a hook that you can use for anything, and it's the first few seconds, and which is where you afterwards do the next clip. The other part is so in case you don't have the material yourself and you just want to create, for example, a poster like this, which is on so most likely the first few examples of those images were theirs. Maybe they were, I can't accuse them, of course, but there are websites like Free Pick. So you got the hook, great, and then you have to create a video. So there's freepick.com, and you have hundreds of videos here. There are many here for free of charge, which you can use. And the third one is add an engaging song on top of it, just trendy music, and combine captions, add captions, and edit it. The reason why I'm emphasizing their captions is around half of people, for example, on Instagram, are watching Reels with no sounds. So they are watching Instagram Reels with no sounds, and that's the reason why most often, if you will see a Facebook or Instagram video, most of the trending ones will have captions. Because if you're in a bus and people are around you, you will not listen to or look at the video that there are no captions, and therefore the Instagram or any social media algorithm thinks, okay, this isn't something we don't want to share to more people. So captions really, really important, and there's an AI for everything. If you want, I can share a list of more than 500 AIs afterwards and in the email, because there are a lot of listing websites like that. And of course, always have call to action. So 4 tools. With these 4 tools, you can practically create it today, and it's quite easy. Of course, it's more efficient if you create it through your own visual identity, if you have one, because that's going to help you long term. But this is a good start. And with real marketing, I would just simply say try it out, because our NGO recently tried going into TikTok, and one of our past events in December had arts museum type of event, which our youth were building, and they had to present 20 different art exhibitions. Their art posters, I would say, more like, and they needed a lot of people. They were aiming for, I think, 50 people to come into the museum during the day, and they ended up having 80 people. And the main marketing they used was TikTok. So they only made 3 to 4 posts in TikTok about it, and has been one of the most effective tools in the way to attract new people to compared to anything else. Facebook, Instagram wasn't compared to it. We noticed a big spike, especially when it went trending on TikTok, and they use quite similar aspects. Of course, it was more personal, but this is a free way to start it right now from the couch you're maybe sitting on right now, or anywhere you are at the moment. Just free tools. So there are few things I want to talk about regarding long-term marketing, because the existing concepts I mentioned right now, if you create a databases and work into specific 4 categories and do the main takeaways I mentioned before, in those ways you can reach a lot of people in quite a short time. But now I want to talk also a little bit more about long-term marketing. Just had a Q&A question, but I will answer that a little bit afterwards. So I added this section due to a few people mentioned it in the survey. For those who are not aware, what is SEO strategy? What is that monster? SEO stands for Search Engine Optimization. Practically, I showed you an example on the right side for a company I worked a little bit. What I wanted to do is whenever somebody searches up esports managers, I think there one esports event, they wanted to show up. So, but their name isn't esports event management. Their name is GoXNMO, and they want to show up when people search on Europe level. I'm looking for esports event manager. Here they are. They go on the website and interact with it. So they wanted to have that, and that's basically what is search engine optimization. That when people search for something specific, you show up. There are three main categories that this splits up in. One I would say is services. For example, NGO Erasmus Plus partners in Latvia. So when you're looking for something really specific. The other one is regarding opportunities. So for example, youth opportunities around me, around Riga, around Latvia. And the third one is questions. Why is, for example, the youth engagement so low? So these are the three type of categories most often SEO is tried to be optimized for, and there are different ways to approach it. I will briefly touch upon this as it is quite technically advanced concept. So I will not maybe go too into depth about this, except if somebody has some questions about it. So when you think about SEO, there are a few things to first think about. So the first one is which keywords are important for you. When I say keywords, I mean phrases. For example, the youth opportunities around you, like which phrases are important for you. Then the second one is you briefly create a database of these keywords, and then the second one is you use a tool called either Google Keyword Planner. I'm gonna use something quite similar to that here, which is Google Ads, Google Advertisements. So it's basically where you click, you log in. It's a free tool. You don't have to pay anything to create a profile. You click onto left side tools, Keyword Planner, and oh, sorry, my phone suddenly thought I was talking to him because it's a Google phone. So you click Get Search Volumes and Forecasts. You enter different keywords and you click Get Started. I already have it open up, and when you do that, you're gonna have this one. So, for example, we are right now targeting in Europe. We will be planning targeting keywords such as youth organizations, volunteer projects, international NGOs, and these are the main things I will target for. But also at the same time, we realized that nobody is searching for Latvian NGOs. Nobody is searching for Latvian representatives. That this isn't a keyword that people search for, so there isn't a necessary to create a blog, a service page, or anything around that, because it's simply not needed. Nobody's searching for that. So when you have the keywords, the next thing you do is you can have tools like, for example, SEMrush, which is a tool where you can see specific keywords, for example, youth organizations, and how many websites are trying to get to show up for that keyword. So that's something to take into account. That's good for analyzing stuff, but yeah, so you can search up on that. And and I think one more thing I want to mention around that is that the reason why it's important to search the keywords and the way to show up in Google as the first one. So if you, I don't think I would just simply show us our example. Okay, we have an ad going on right now, which is free of charge. By the way, I'll show how to get ads for free in Google at the end of the presentation. But here, for example, we would like to target youth opportunities. And the way it ranks which website shows up, the first one, for example, this one is it analyzes the website, it checks the speed, it checks how fast it loads up, it checks how many headlines has the specific keyword, it looks how well rated it is across different ratings and etc. So it takes a lot of different criteria to rank it, and you can check how your website is doing in these different criteria. For example, in different checkers. So there's like SEO analyzers, for example, which is this is one of them. So you just input your website there, and you can see what is, for example, good, what is bad, some really practical, highly advanced things to take into account. And the third one is backlinks. So this is also a big impact that influences how high you show up in any type of keyword, which is how many other websites have links to your website. So, for example, if your NGO is listed in the European Youth Foundation website, or if they are listed in anywhere else, that's already a backlink. So, and it already positively impacts your website. And while to get the backlinks, there are different ways to get your website listed in different websites. There are different ways, but there are some quite easy first steps to do. So, in case you want to ensure that your NGO is also quite known internationally, there's Celto platform, Youth Foundation platform, Interreg, Matchmaking, United Nations Search platform, NGObase.org. So these are platforms where people typically search up for partners. So I would definitely suggest registering your website there. There are also different project finding platforms, the Facebook groups I mentioned before. A lot of Facebook groups have messenger groups. There are LinkedIn groups, Telegram groups, Viber groups. Especially if you're looking for partners across Europe, it's really important to look at the third, fourth, and fifth section, as if you search communication platform across Europe, will not be able to find it right now, but for example, a lot of countries use mainly Messenger, some people use Telegram, some people use Viber, and etc. And there's also, regarding the different networks, as you already know, there are a lot of thematic networks, thematic groups that you can be part of. youth councils, Euro desks, and one of the things that is not directly linked to SEO as a whole, but I would say it's quite important for networking and building up your reputation as a whole as an NGO, is the hidden list, which is, for example, when an NGO from a different country messages your country embassy looking for partners. They typically have a list to go through, and they will give them a list of NGOs they could work with. For example, also with EU Youth Dialogue programs, EU liaison offices, they have their own lists, which are not public, but it's super important to be in their lists, or at least make sure that they are aware of you. So when somebody looks for a partner, they can recommend you. And one of the last sections before we dive into the Google Ads program, which is the one I mentioned before, is analyze data, because reaching out on all of the previously mentioned networks, on all of the 4 sections, if you do it full time, you can take 10 hours every day for a month to do it as much as possible. It takes a lot of time. So, and most likely you don't want to burn out because you have tons of other things to do. So one of the key things is to analyze data from time to time to see from which target groups most people show up. So also after this masterclass, after tomorrow, I will most likely send a survey where this will be one of the questions to see which was the most effective marketing strategy that we used. So next time we can double down on it and perhaps stop using less effective strategies. And there is 2 ways to analyze the data regarding marketing. One is on the website, and one is regarding events. So if you wanna, if your NGO has a website, in case it doesn't, you can create it for free quite easily. There are different website builders out there for free. You can just build blocks together. In case you have a question regarding that, how to build a website for free, ask me in the email and I will send you a few guides. But regarding the website data, there are different ones. So for example, there's Google Analytics and Search Console. The way that works is you simply I will show you practically an example. So if you have Google Search Console, it takes a few clicks only to set it up, as you saw just right now. And then you can see how every single day, how many people have been to your website, how many people saw it in Google, how many people actually clicked the website, and etc. We can see that our website's I would say click amount and impression amount is slightly increasing over time, so that's good. But this is only part of the data. If you also get Google Analytics, this is more in-depth data that will not be most likely needed for most NGOs, where you can simply check how your website is doing. So, for example, I checked how our website was doing before 1st October and 30th of November. We can, on every single day, we can check how many people directly came to the website, how many people searched something online, for how many people we paid to go on to the website, how many people organically found some Facebook posts and clicked on our link and etc. But the best one is that most often you have seen that, I will show you an example, that whenever you I will not have an example. I will show you plumbing. No, I can't. Most often, whenever you go and see ads, whenever you click the ad banner, a lot of times you will see that it's real. I know where to show it. Here is going to be example. So here in the ad, if you look into text, there's this question mark, and now the other side of the question mark is called UTM link that basically sends data to Google Analytics and says from which part of the internet the person came from. So this is something to also look into and for more data. But I will go back to less technical things in a moment. So regarding the events, always do a survey and in the end ask where they got the information from. Regarding website data, if you want to start to analyze where people came from, use the tool at the bottom I showed here. So, here you can just click your website URL, what's your campaign called, and etc. Fill it out and send people this new link, which will just have, it's going to be slightly a little bit longer, but now you will be able to cover the data in Google Analytics and see where people came from. And tracking long-term data. I'm going to leave those websites there for those who are interested in it, but I think it's a little bit too in-depth for this masterclass, so we'll slightly skip it over. And lastly, something I want to touch upon is the Google Ads grant, where you where every NGO can for free get up to $10,000 every single month for free of charge in Google Ads. So right now it's not gonna. For example, we have few keywords. When you search up to few keywords, you have a sponsored post, and we show up. You can get that for free as well. The way you do it is you search up Google Ads grant. You scroll down, get started. And here you click apply. And then you have to fill out a few questions. It's super quick, easy, not complicated at all. Just doing that survey, you can get up to $10,000 that you can spend every single month. Of course, it's quite hard to spend that much money, which sounds quite funny, but it's quite hard to spend that money because there are a few rules for non-profits when they use this money, as you can use it quite limited on specific things. But for example, we are in the past 2 months when we have started to run this, we have spent $116, gotten more than almost 300 new impressions on people, and it's free. It would have costed $120, otherwise we get it for free. So free ads, Google Ads grant, highly recommended. And that's going to be the last one of the slides today. thank you for listening so far. In case anybody has any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat or to ask in the Q&A. This time I have it open. This time I realized that there it is. And yeah, feel free to ask a question or two. I will give like 2 to 3 minutes and answer any of them. I just noticed we also have a question Q&A. I'm not sure what's gonna happen when I click respond live. I don't think anything. Oh yeah, it's answering now. So Mariam has a question: how can we balance between sharing clear details and leaving them space to interact so I can know who might be interested? So I suppose that's what is the balance between having too much information so it answers every question, but at the same time not too much information so it doesn't seem too long. I would say the basic necessary information that everybody should have included in their posters always is this. So always include the goal, the problem that they would solve, the date and time, format and location, target audience, and benefits. You can additionally, at least we have noticed, is expressing clearly what roles they will have. So saying what they will exactly need to do. That gets much higher new people for the first time. And secondly, emphasizing the fact that they can come alone and it's okay. And if they come alone, they'll be integrated into the whole group, because a lot of newcomers are worried about the two parts. What will they do here? And they don't want to come alone. And then we have one anonymous question also in the Q&A. Is keywords you recommend using in local language if target groups are local youth? So there are different types of keywords you can target. I will briefly show you ours. It's not going to be in Latvian, but I will briefly explain to you. They are different. The keywords, the first one, most obvious one, is having the main keywords that represent your organization. So for example, for us it is Club the House. Then the second one is have keywords that, for example, youth NGOs, youth councils, local school councils, something that is quite similar to your concept, and ensure that. So that's the second one. The third one is I would say regarding school education system, especially if you're targeting youth, because that's going to be something they search up quite often. The fourth one is, I would say, volunteering work, youth opportunities, youth projects, and you can also provide Google your website, and they can analyze your website and say what would be the best keywords for your website to reach more of the people you're already reaching for, and that's called dynamic ads. And it's quite easy, and does everything for you. So that's also, I would say these 5 categories are the most efficient ones for simply setting up, and they will be the best ones for Google ads or just SEO as a whole. So I answered that. Regarding the recommendations for social media management, I will not be able to answer that question right now. But if you can answer, send me that to my email. I can ask my colleague what we're using right now. So my colleague can answer that question for you, and then we can send you the information. And in the chat, I also noticed that we have can I show the slides with the event website cookies info, please? Yes, I can briefly touch upon that regarding the cookies questions. So whenever a person goes into your website and you want the data to show up on Google Analytics and have it, I would say, sorted out, like they came from this place, they came from that place, have it really detailed, you have to have the cookies, not the ones that you eat often, but the ones that, this concept, this is really important. Otherwise, the data you send to Google Analytics is, it doesn't really get any data otherwise. It's obligatory, otherwise it doesn't send the data. There is this cookiebot.com, and if you're using any website, it's super easy to integrate it in your website. They have tutorials on it, and if you watch 2 YouTube videos, you can do it within 3 days, most likely. If you know how to do it, it takes 10 minutes. And regarding this, if your website has less than 50 pages, this will work for you. Otherwise, it will have a slight subscription monthly page cost. And any correct keyword wonderful. So I will answer perhaps 2 or 3 more questions in the Q&A. So yeah, regarding the recommendations for social media management, ask me that in email and I will send you the information. And from Kaza Hut, I have a question. Hi, in your opinion, what is the best marketing strategy to boost engagement among young people? I would say in marketing as a whole, I would say there is not one this perfect best marketing strategy as a whole in NGO sector. I would say it's a lot of different things bringing aspects together. So involves reaching the young person in all of these different channels that I mentioned before. Only can't find them. Oh, here you go. Yeah, so reaching the young person in all of these channels and making sure that they find it. So that's one, just massively trying to reach them. But overall, the most efficient ones is you want to be where the young person is. So that's TikTok, that's Snapchat, that's school education places. And when you reach them, you want to ensure that they share it forward. And it's funny. If you can make it funny, it's awesome. And they will laugh about it and talk to other people about it. And recommendations for some program tool AI for generating videos. There is, in case you have not known about this website, the Hugging Face. This is a website of almost everything that you can imagine on, for example, I think there should be text to video. Yeah, and it already shows you a large list of text to video, as well as there are listings of AI tools. And here there's video, generative video, and all of them are for free. I can't comment on too much on AI videos. as I haven't used them too much in the past, as we have a media group in our team, and which are taking care of everything regarding media. But I would say try out the free tools, and as recently a lot of them have been highly becoming advanced. And last question from Hayasa is, when you covered the keyword search, did it showcase the search wording that led to your website? Yes, if I understood correctly, the question is I can go into the campaigns I can show either also paid campaigns and also non-paid campaigns. So all campaigns, I click the search keywords, and I can see that the most efficient ones, for example, for us is volunteering work in the past few months, volunteering work for youth, volunteering work in Riga, and youth house. And for free of charge keywords, it's a little bit less, wrong one, detailed. No. Performance. Yeah. So in search Google Console, you can see, for example, in the past 28 days, most people found us new projects. These are the most common elements in their search. So yeah, so you can see on what keywords you showed up the most, and there are also free tools for that. So looks like I answered all of the questions. Then that will be it from me today. To all of you, thank you for being here for close to 2 hours. Tomorrow we will talk about ideation and funding insights. So that will be a little bit different. And the third and the last masterclass from our side. And hopefully it's worth it, helpful to you, and you learn a lot of new insights. And thank you for being here. Thank you. And until tomorrow.